All right, folks, we are back on this Monday, May 19th, 2025. Important update as we're talking about the big week for XRP that's already underway. The CME futures going live today. They are actively trading right now, XRP futures on the CME. And then we got the scoop on the stablecoin legislation from Eleanor Terrett. We're going to discuss that. And then we have 3 spot ETFs that are due for a response from the SEC this week. It's going to be a big one. Here's your full breakdown along with a market update included. So to get started, we got the scoop. This is breaking from Eleanor Terrett. Senate Banking Committee Democrats just dropped a scathing staff analysis of the latest Genius Act draft ahead of this evening's cloture vote. So they will be voting. And mind everybody, this is not to actually pass the legislation today. This is just a cloture vote, okay? But staffers are describing the latest Genius Act draft as a blueprint for, quote, Trump crypto corruption and big tech dominance over digital currencies, urging additional changes to address unresolved issues. The concerns that they cite: no ban on Trump profiting from his own stablecoin. This bill may let Elon Musk's X create X money. We can't have that. And it expands loopholes for Tether aiding terrorists and criminals, and no real consumer protections or financial safeguards. And I have to laugh at this because the fact that they want to play politics here on what something should be nonpartisan, right? That this should be a bipartisan bill, I should say, with both sides of the aisle coming together to pass this. But now in the final hour, we want to play politics again. And the worst part about this, them citing no real consumer protections or financial safeguards, is the fact that this bill does not allow the holders of the stablecoin to earn interest on the stablecoin. Now, apparently, the word on the street, I even saw David Schwartz making a comment about this, is that the regional banks and other banks too, I'm sure, the bank lobby is basically stepping in here and they're trying to block me and you from being able to earn interest on our stablecoin. Why? Because they need your deposits to stay within the legacy banking system. They don't want you holding ROUSD earning 4 or 5% on Uphold like you can right now, right? They don't want you to be becoming your own bank, utilizing the XRP ledger, the AMM, to be a liquidity provider, to store your keys, to literally be your own bank, cut out all middlemen and earn yield freely, right? This is what we're actively doing right now. They don't want this. They don't even want us peasants to be able to earn that 3, 4, 5% from the stablecoin. It's absolutely a joke and hypocritical that they want to come forward and play politics at the last hour. But do we expect anything less from these folks? No, it's pretty much for the par. Now, Brad Garlinghouse is heading to DC to champion sensible pro-crypto legislation around stablecoins and market structure. And I'm very encouraged to see our elected officials look at crypto as it should be, a multi-chain industry. That said, Senator Loomis, as chair of the Digital Assets Subcommittee, canceled a meeting with me and won't reschedule. As a leader in Congress and a senator from one of the most crypto-friendly states in Wyoming, I hope you will reconsider and be a leader for all of crypto. Uh-oh. Is Senator Cynthia Loomis, she been drinking too much of the Bitcoin bro? She been hanging out too much with the Bitcoin bros and they're starting to rub off on her? Now she doesn't want to take a meeting with Brad Garlinghouse, someone who's trying to champion a multi-chain, let a rising tide lift all boats, right? Senator Cynthia Loomis, the Bitcoin lobby getting at her. See, the banking lobby is getting in here on the stablecoin legislation, and then the Bitcoin lobby has basically diluted the conversation, and is trying to prevent and stop other industry players who are trying to move our entire industry forward from coming forward and getting that done. Very sad to see from Senator Cynthia Loomis, but I've already seen her making this shift, so it's not too much of a surprise, I got to say, unfortunately. And Brad Garlinghouse, wow. He says, I invite you to join me on an X Space anytime, or a live convo on stage at one of the many events we cross paths at, to talk about how to make the U.S. the crypto capital of the world. As is the goal of the Trump administration, I will continue to do everything possible to support that goal. So Brad Garlinghouse already working with President Trump. Senator Cynthia Loomis, why aren't you willing to work with Brad Garlinghouse? This speaks a lot. The fact that Brad Garlinghouse is publicly calling out Senator Cynthia Loomis, she's already on my naughty list, and, well, it's not looking good. Not looking good. But what is looking good is the growth that we're seeing right now on the XRP ledger. over 6.5 active wallets now on the XRP ledger total. But I wanted to bring this up to remind everybody just how small of a group we really are. You know, there's this sentiment that has pervaded in our community for quite some time that's, I think, really flawed in its premise that they're not going to let us get rich. Oh, you guys are crazy thinking that they're going to let you little Joe Blow XRP holders become millionaires and billionaires. There's literally a few million of us. We're nothing, right? This is not a concern of anybody, right? The powers that be are not worried about the XRP community making a bag of XRP because they already got their bag too. I'll let you in on that little secret, right? They ain't worried about a few million people because we all have multiple wallets, or at least most of us do. So when you consider that there's 6.5 million active wallets, most likely we're talking about a few million people at most that actually hold XRP. You are part of the chosen few. Now, speaking of wallets, though, I wanted to mention this because I saw some people asking me about Caleb and Brown, some people saying that it wasn't institutional grade custody. And I wanted to clarify a couple things here, too, because I saw this tweet put out by Link on X saying that Bitcoin is currently at 103,500, but if you want to buy on Coinbase, they charge you 104,500, so $1,000 spread premium that they're charging you. Or if you want to sell, well, boy, they're hammering you down at 101,950. Now, this isn't always the exchange's fault. This is a function of the order books. But what these exchanges are doing is they're stretching that slippage. They're hitting you on the fees. And sometimes they're hidden fees that they're not very transparent about. And that's why I've really loved the level of service and the transparent fees that Caleb and Brown has offered. And while you hold your crypto on their platform, it is in institutional grade custody. And so when you go to trade, you set your order, wherever it may be. I want to sell XRP at $10. They're going to sell your XRP at $10, not with a little bit of slippage, not with any hidden fees. And this is why I really like their platform so far. And so I retweeted this and I said, this is why I put a bag of XRP on Caleb and Brown. Your limit order is filled exactly at the price you put in the order for, with transparent fees. No hidden fees or slippage. Your crypto is also placed in institutional grade custody while it's with them. Now, I did see some folks commenting and they said, Zach, why are you telling everybody to put all their, crypto on Caleb and Brown? What kind of, we get you need to make some money, but what is this? You're just shilling your sponsor. First and foremost, let me be clear. I don't have any sponsors. They're just another one of the community resources that I have an affiliate link for. When you use my link, of course, I do get supported and I greatly appreciate your support. But I've been very clear this whole time about all of these platforms, whether it be Uphold, Coinbase, or Caleb and Brown. I only keep crypto on these platforms that I'm looking to trade. All of my long-term XRP is not on any of these platforms. And so I just wanted to clarify that for everybody that hears me and others talking about Caleb and Brown. I'm not telling anybody to move all of your crypto or XRP to this platform. I'm just saying if you are looking to trade and you're looking for a platform that can hold your crypto in institutional grade custody while you're doing so, they are providing that. And so I asked Grok to clarify, is Fireblocks institutional grade custody? And Grok says yes. Fireblocks, sorry, let me pull this up properly for you guys right here. Yes, Fireblocks is considered to provide institutional grade custody for digital assets. It is widely recognized in the industry for its secure infrastructure, leveraging multi-party computation technology, hardware isolation, and robust governance policies to ensure high levels of security and compliance. Here are the key points supporting this. So they got security features. I'm not going to get into all this. Direct custody model, compliance and regulation, scalability and integration, industry adoption, and global custodian program. So while they this is the thing. They're not the only one in the business, but they are one of the top institutional grade custody providers. And this is who Caleb and Brown uses. So you have Anchorage Digital, you have Fireblocks, you have Ripple Custody, which is now one of the leading institutional grade providers. And with most of these platforms, they're not going to work with you unless you have $1 million in crypto. That's the beauty of being on Caleb and Brown, is you could have a few $1,000 in crypto and they still got you tied up in institutional grade custody. No commingling of the funds, your own segregated accounts. And so I just wanted to provide clarity for you guys on that. And if you guys do want to use my link down below, it is a way to support the channel. Greatly appreciate your support. Now, moving on into new platforms, providing more exposure to XRP. Today is the day that the CME has gone live with XRP and micro XRP futures. You can trade and manage your exposure to one of the leading cryptocurrencies now on the CME. Now, interesting though, Brad Grindhouse retweets and he says, the launch of regulated XRP futures on the CME group marks a key institutional milestone for XRP. And very excited to report that Hidden Road cleared the first block trade on CME at the opening. Now, I didn't expect this. This is a big surprise for me and the rest of the community to find out that Hidden Road, the prime brokerage firm that Ripple has now acquired, is actually helping settle up the first block trade at the CME for the XRP futures. So you're starting to see here, it's like Ripple, behind every corner that you look, they're working with somebody or they're there now offering. They've expanded their verticals, right? They not just doing cross-border payments, treasury management, institutional grade custody, the stable coins. They're doing it all. And now with this prime brokerage firm, this is another vertical that they've expanded into. And now we come to find out that they're helping settle up for the CME. I hope everybody understands. This is a good time to remind everybody that the CME settles up quadrillions worth of settlement on their platform. Trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars on a daily and weekly basis. This is quadrillions that are moving with the CME. Now, we already know that Hidden Road was doing 3 trillion, and the quote from their CEO was that they had a lot of room to scale up. They just needed the help, and that's where Ripple came in and acquired them. And so now Ripple's going to help Hidden Road scale that up from 3 trillion. And if you're helping the CME settle up some of that action, well, you're going to be moving in that direction. Absolutely love to see it. Now, we got to understand something though. These CME futures are not physically backed. So I was not expecting this to pump XRP. I know a lot of people were saying, "Oh, prepare for the 19th." They're clickbaiting, right? Prepare for the 19th. CME futures going live. Big pump. No. It's not how this works. In fact, if you go look, but I am going to make an interesting point here. When you go back and look at when the CME futures went live for Bitcoin, it was actually at the top of the 2017 cycle. They actually bragged about how the CME futures actually busted up the Bitcoin bubble back then. What happened is that the CME futures for Bitcoin went live right as Bitcoin was topping out. So when the futures went live, everybody was going short. If you look back at that historical moment, this is a big part. A lot of people, take credit for the CME futures actually being a big part of what drove Bitcoin back down after it topped out. Futures went live, and then everybody started shorting Bitcoin. Now this is a reason why I didn't expect the CME futures to pump XRP today. And in fact, I warned my Discord group about how this could be a buy the rumor, sell the news event this week with the CME futures going live, with the stablecoin legislation getting voted on, and with these ETFs that are going to be getting an answer from the SEC. All 3 of these things are why I'm titling this video here today, Big Week for XRP. But it doesn't mean that the price is going to pump. It actually could be a buy the rumor, sell the news. And so I said, prepare with cash on the sidelines to buy the dip. Front run the dip down to 220 by getting your orders in at 225 to 230, which is exactly where we dipped down to today. You really have to understand this. There's a lot of noise in this space. And what happens is the clickbaiters, they clickbait every single one of these events as if it's going to be a pump. And they don't have real analysis to understand when these events are going to be leading to price action up or when it's going to lead to price action going down. And that's where I try to distinguish myself from the rest of these clickbaiters. Now, this is what I said yesterday. XRP futures on Coinbase. I was waiting for them to open up. When I dropped this post, XRP was pumping up to 245. Okay. Now we saw that the market did come back down, but I want you guys to look at this last post that I said right here. CME goes live tomorrow, ETF soon, but I said, I believe any dip from the credit downgrade will not last long, if it even comes. Now it did come, but did it last long? Not at all. That was where the stock market opened up down, crypto opened up down, And we did get a pump up. It was the largest weekly close ever yesterday for Bitcoin. The highest daily and the highest weekly close ever, above 106,000 for Bitcoin. And I still believe that Bitcoin is heading towards a new all-time high in the next couple weeks. And I do believe that XRP is going to be heading towards $3. But we're going to we already did see a dip, and we might even dip a little bit further if this stablecoin legislation doesn't get passed. Or even if it does, it could still be a buy the rumor, sell the news either way, right? So please prepare yourself for that. You know, and this is why I said this is a big difference between those that can only know how to clickbait hype. They only know how to clickbait number go up instead of drawing in your attention to provide you the real analysis, right? Guys, don't listen to the noise. Prepare with cash on the sidelines to eat up that dip, whether it be XRP or other positions that you want to add to. That's the difference between me and a lot of these other guys. Now, here's the stock market. Opened up down, already up on the day. This is the S&P 500. Same things for the NASDAQ 100. Opened up down, already up green on the day. Every single one of these major indices here for our stock market. Dow Jones, same thing. So we go back to my last post. I believe any dip from the credit downgrade will not last long. So we have the credit downgrade, which already made us dip. If stablecoin legislation goes good, goes bad, either way, watch out for a dip. CME futures went live. I didn't expect it to have a price impact because it's not physically backed like the spot ETFs. The spot ETFs will lead to an XRP pump because the inflows from the ETFs, they actually have to be backed by XRP. And speaking of the spot ETFs, later this week, we have 3 XRP ETFs that are due for a response from the SEC. On the 21st, the Grayscale spot ETF is due for a response. And then on the 22nd, it's the 21 shares and the Canary Capital are due for a response from the SEC. That's this week. Okay. Now let's go back into our market here. Let's take a look here at Bitcoin. This is what happened for Bitcoin is they pumped up Bitcoin, right, up to 106,000. And we actually got that, that close above 106 on the day. So it's the highest daily and highest weekly close ever in Bitcoin's history. And just like I said yesterday, just like I said to my Discord on Saturday, guys, watch for us to break and hold above 105. That's the big level. We've only closed 3 days in Bitcoin's entire history above 105. Well, we blasted through and we closed off the day at 106. But then we had a big sell-off where they liquidated everybody back down to 102. This is how the market makers make their money. They pump us up. We get a big, highest weekly close ever, but then they flush out everybody down to 102.2. That's a big flush out. But then look, we're already back up to 105. 105.4 as I record this update right now. That's just fine. This day can finish off red, and we're still in bullish structure. Let's look at XRP. Okay, XRP's come back down. Like I said, everybody's going to front run the dip down to 220. This is why we had a dip down on Saturday, down to 230. That got ate up. And we had a dip down early this morning down to 228. That got ate up. And we're back to 237. XRP holding structure. Now, this is why I have my vertical line right here on May 22nd. That's Thursday. Is because we'll have the response on 3 spot ETFs this week. On the 21st, Grayscale. On the 22nd, 21 shares in Canary. So that's why I have this vertical line right here. And I'm expecting, this is the new moon, May 27th. This has been marking tops for XRP going back to December. I'll turn on my moon phase indicator so that you can see. I know there's a lot going on in this chart. The blue circles are the new moons. The gray ones are the full moons. And you see we've topped out and have started coming back down around each one of these new moons, which comes in here at the end of the month on May 27th. So between now and May 27th, that's when I'm expecting the XRP to enter back up into my purple box. We'll be approaching 271 as my first target, 286 on the high side. I think we fall just short of $3. Everything's intact. Nothing has changed. And although it's a big week for XRP from a fundamental level, understand it doesn't equate to number go up today, right away, right? And like I said, any pullback that we get from the credit downgrade, that already got ate up. From buy the rumor, sell the news on stablecoin legislation, it'll get ate right up. From the 3 spot ETFs getting delayed or denied, they won't get denied. They could potentially get delayed though, right? That dip will get ate up. We're not going back down to $2 right now unless we get black swan. So if you guys are looking to acquire more crypto, have cash ready to go this week. This week, I think we might get a couple little blips here, a couple little wicks down. But I think we finish off the rest of this month very strong as we take it to XRP Las Vegas. So please be prepared for that. I want to provide this full analysis for you guys on what's taking place for XRP, the broader markets, and how we can be prepared for whatever the market throws at us. Okay? Now, with that being said, if anybody wants to tap in with us, our website is zachrector.com. It's all linked up down below. I greatly appreciate your support and for smashing that thumbs up on the way out. I will see you guys in the next one. God bless you all. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.